during his trading lifetime. So just to introduce myself again, I'm Dr. Joy Conlon. I'm a trading psychology expert, and I'm working here with We Fund You Trade, and very excited to be back today with Mo for our second installment. So greed, I guess I'm always a fan of having what we'd call a definition of a term, because I guess we're all on the same page then. So if we talk about greed, we're talking about this intense, insatiable desire for something such as wealth, power, food, or material items. And the key part of that is insatiable, which typically means you cannot satisfy it. So it's almost like a bottomless pit. It's hard to ever feel like I have enough, but it's very common when it comes to money. So a desire for things such as money, food, possessions, that it's over and above one's actual need for them. And so I guess sometimes we're overcome with this strong desire to have as much money as possible when you're trading, because obviously there's a market with lots of money in it, and people can suddenly move into a very emotional way of thinking, which sabotages their rational thinking, their rational mind, where they hold all of their rational thoughts about trading, their technical knowledge. And very often greed is driven by subconscious processes. People aren't aware of what's happening, but it's certainly influencing their decision making when they're trading. So sometimes this desire to get rich quick can result in overriding our logical thinking. And very often I'll have people telling me that they're experiencing thoughts like, I need to make it as much money as possible today, or I need to ensure I don't miss out on an opportunity today.
Yes.
Is that something, Mo, that you have experience with?
Yes. So when I traded the financial markets, when I first started, I had a lot of issues with greed. I always set for myself targets that I was never able to achieve. However, with setting up a target, you create that overconfidence bias and a sense of belief in what you can achieve and what you can't achieve. And at the end, if you end up trading for the day, and let's say you've set a target of $300 or $500, and then at the end of the day you see that you're at 250, you did not really achieve the 500. What you typically do is engage in revenge trading, or you open multiple trades where you're not actually executing based on quality. You're executing based on that belief system that you have, that you want to smash it, you want to get that 500 that you set for yourself in the day, but the market conditions are not providing you these sort of conditions for the day to achieve that 500, where you end up over trading, revenge trading, and then eventually leading to more losses rather than actually ending the day in the positive. Over trading, revenge trading leads you to negative results at the end of the day. And that comes from greed. You set yourself a target, you didn't achieve that target. We as humans are not, accustomed to not achieve something that we set our minds to. And when it comes to the market, that's something that you really have to overcome, which, comes from greed.
Yeah. Okay. Lovely. So it sounds like maybe earlier in your trading career, you were very focused on an outcome as opposed to process. So it sounds like you had a number in mind, you wanted to achieve a certain amount, and that's where your focus was. And so I guess from the very outset, I'm defining myself by this number. And so my sense of myself as a trader, if I achieve, I'm doing well. If I don't achieve that number, potentially I feel like I'm failing, which can again trigger emotional brain. And again, where our brain is at before, during, and after trading. So after trading, if you don't succeed in achieving the number, if that's what you're driven by, more often than not, you're going to start into tomorrow's trading with this sense of I need to recoup. I'm going to overtrade tomorrow. I'm panicking, and it's almost like I have a need that's emotionally driven, when really, if I don't recoup it tomorrow, my life isn't going to change. But this is a very strong urge and desire to maybe feel like I'm taking back control, or I feel a sense of powerlessness if I don't achieve. So therefore I'm driven to feel powerful again. And so this notion of greed being associated with power and control. This is a really nice example when maybe I feel like I lost control, I lost power, I lost my money, and I need to reclaim that power and control by getting that money back.
That is absolutely correct. And that really explains what I was going through.
Okay.
Some things that I've done to overcome that issue is to create a trading plan.
Okay.
So if you don't have a trading plan, you are going to be lost. Trading plan develops organization within your work.
Yeah.
Everything is done with a process. And if you don't have that process, that trading plan, the trading plan consists of technical analysis, fundamental analysis, psychology, risk management. All these things combined give a trading plan. And if you don't have that set for yourself, your results are going to be random. So just think of it in a way where if your manager kind of asked you, hey, do me a research on specific companies, you're not going to approach that manager with just speaking out of your heart or without any preparation or any research. You're going to do research, process, find out the data, the results about these specific companies that he asked for, and present it to him. With trading, it's the exact same thing. If you don't have organization and you don't have a trading plan, your results are going to be random, which leads to random results of losses and leads to, down the line, it leads to poor psychology, develops greed, and then you want to get all of that back by engaging in revenge trading, fear of missing out, all that sort of behavioral aspects that we're seeing with traders now. So that is something that I've really experienced on my own. And what you just said really sheds the light on that issue with a lot of traders around the world. So thank you for that. So
when we're talking about a trading plan, and I love what you're saying in the sense that it's giving you a sense of being organized.
Yes.
And so we mentioned last week when we were talking about the ABC, we were talking about awareness and then that sense of needing discipline, and that trading, if we treat it like a job, you know, not everybody per se, but we'd like to believe that the majority of people have a disciplined approach to work. And so trading is no different. And part of that discipline is being disciplined enough to prepare a trading plan. And the first part is preparing it, because I speak to a lot of people who prepare a plan. Yeah. And maybe you can talk to me about your experience about this, but many people prepare a plan and then don't stick to it.
Yes.
So have you experienced with preparing a plan and not sticking to it?
Yes, that is exactly something that I've also gone through. What helped me the most is having psychology sessions with you. Do you remember like the time with the COVID-19 crash and what happened to me and how much you've helped me back then to the time right now of how I approach everything with a process, with a plan. Before I execute a trade, I actually have a plan set. So if anything goes wrong, I don't blame the news, I don't blame social media, I don't blame something that I've looked at. I just simply blame myself and the process that I've followed. If you don't have a plan, there's no one to blame. Every time I approach trading, I like to think of it, can I justify every trade that I'm taking with the plan that I'm following?
Sure.
So is my technical analysis in line with the strategy that I follow? Fundamentals, is it aligned with my strategy as well? My risk management, am I risking too much? Am I risking too little? Each setup is different. Market structure changes from time to time. So your stop losses are going to be sometimes higher, sometimes lower. And that comes with strict risk management. And then lastly, am I being emotional about the trade? Am I thinking about it from the perspective of, I want to make money today, or am I following my process? If you're following your process, go ahead and execute that trade. If you're being emotional about the trade before you open it, I would just, lean back. Don't trade for the day. Call it a day and start trading another day where you feel more comfortable with yourself. We can talk about different scenarios and different stories that I've experienced in the past that actually helped me grow to developing that trading plan. As you said, organization comes, every successful person out there that have reached a high status of wealth, they've reached that with organization. You're not going to see someone succeed to the level that they want without having organization in their day-to-day life outside of trading. And then that falls along with trading.
Yeah, absolutely. Or sometimes people can strike it lucky, and achieve great success. However, if they don't instill discipline,
Yes.
they very often lose that success. They find it hard to hold on to it. Something you just said that I just want to tap into, and then maybe if you're happy to share your experience during the crash, that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
But you mentioned that if you're turning up to trading and you are feeling emotional. So when I was referring to greed at the start of this evening, it was with the sense that you're starting to identify greed with some thinking patterns. So that's how somebody might be able to identify, am I being driven by emotional brain? I need to make as much money as possible today. So for some people, they will label that as greed.
Yes.
For other people will talk about FOMO, fear of missing out, and their thought might be, I need to ensure I do not miss out on any opportunity today, so I have to stay in for longer. And so both of those thought processes are driven by emotional brain. And I guess if you notice before you trade, that's where your mind's going, I would call that a red flag.
Yes.
And so when we have red flags, I say to people, these are the times when you need to press pause. Just like you said, maybe you need to step back a little. So you need to step back, have a little talk with yourself. And it's like, okay, these are red flags. These are red flag thinking. It's emotional brain. And if I follow this thought pattern and allow it guide my trading today, my emotional brain is literally taking me on the trading ride. And therefore the outcome is more than likely not going to be the desired outcome. So I guess it's about identifying these red flags. And sometimes we learn through a process of, of failing. And I don't necessarily want to use the word failing. So we'll just say maybe we learn through a process of not acquiring the outcomes that we desire.
Yes.
So could you, if you're happy, share with everybody, because sometimes when people listen to somebody like yourself who's been trading for years and you're very knowledgeable and very skilled technically and emotionally, and it sounds like, oh, wow, he has it all together. He's doing really well. How can I ever be like him? They don't necessarily appreciate that you've had your journey of, successes and outcomes that weren't desirable. So do you want to share, if that's okay, what happened to you during the crash?
Absolutely. So at the time I was trading, I started in 2016 with the COVID crash. Like I traded for 3 years in a row before we encountered the COVID-19 crash. And that was devastating, not just to me, to hedge funds in the market, banks, and people all over the world. Any trader that was trading at that time have also told me multiple stories. So with the COVID-19 crash, I had a lot of expectations out of myself.
Okay.
And I saw the biggest move in the markets to the downside. Every news channel, mainstream media, were talking about that crash. Every day you look at the Dow Jones, $1,000 down, $2,000 down, the circuits break, and then they have to do something to repair it. And I was thinking, wow, that is the time when I need to get my hands on some of these movements. It's significant movements. I can make a lot of money out of that. All the social media guys that I was following at the time were posting pictures and screenshots of their significant returns. And I've basically funded my account with £55,000, which was a significant amount at the time that I had. And I was executing trades, just selling the markets. At the time, the Federal Reserve Bank in the United States came out and published that they will be printing money around $7 trillion, and they would basically help the markets recover. Every human being that I was seeing, all mainstream media were still talking about the collapse. It's going to go lower. And I just had that sense of belief. I had an attachment to just being a seller in this market, and I will not do anything. Even if I see a buying opportunity, I'm not going to be buying. I will just keep on selling.
Okay.
So I started selling, and the price goes against me. I will add more positions. Price goes against me more. add more positions, and it keeps going against me until I basically received a margin call. Maybe a lot of you guys are familiar with what a margin call is. It's basically when your account can't handle the position that you have opened. So you receive a margin call from your broker asking you to fund more money in your account, or else your positions will start to get closed out immediately. My wife told me, I think you should accept if you're wrong, and I don't think you should deposit money. But at the end of the day, you can do that if you wanted to. I kept thinking about it, and I was thinking, my wife wants the best for me. Maybe I'm not thinking in a rational way. I have that sense of belief that the market is just going to keep dropping lower. Every person that I know, all social media, mainstream media, everything that I follow is saying that the market is go down. So I believed that it would go down. And I had a hypothetical scenario, thinking that I was in like I was thinking that I'm in a movie.
Like The Big Short.
The Big Short.
Okay.
And how they made significant returns with that market crash.
Yeah.
And I was imagining myself in that movie, drawing hypothetical scenarios. If the price goes down, I would make $6-7 million out of my $55,000. And the price actually kept going against me. So with my first margin call, half of my position got closed out. I was left with 27,000, and I kept it running. I was like, okay, 27,000. If the market crashes 2 days later, I would actually be up 2 million instead of 7 million.
Yeah.
So 2 days later, my account got wiped out fully. It kept going against me. And that's when I knew that when the Federal Reserve fundamentally prints out a lot of money, I need to stop looking for short positions.
Sure.
Because they're going to try to revive that economy. Why am I selling? After I've lost that money, it was devastating. And I started thinking of how can I improve? It was, not the desired outcome. As you said, let's not call it failure, because we go through trials and errors, and we find ways to fix these mistakes.
Sure.
So I developed a plan. Every time I trade, my technicals should be aligned with my bias. I trade what I see, not what I think. A lot of people tend to trade their ideas based on their predictions, and maybe sometimes their predictions are wrong, or their prediction will play out a week later. So I just look at the markets. What am I seeing in front of me? And that is exactly what I trade. No more prediction, no more trading what I think, just what I see. Fundamentally, just if my fundamentals are aligning, the data that comes out are aligning, what the central banks are doing are aligning with my bias, then that gives an additional confirmation. Every trade that I enter has a stop loss now, which is something we've talked about together. You've helped me a lot ever since to now, how much value I've gained and how better of a trader I've become. And lastly, to have, risk management, psychology, fundamentals, and technicals. For aligning, for confirmations, good to go.
Beautiful.
And to talk about an additional story, not to take so much of your time, but to talk about an additional story of how I've overcome this. Just about recently, 2 months ago, the central bank in the United States were talking about the default, that they could default on their debt. So Janet Yellen was presenting to the House of Representatives, Senate, that they need to raise the debt ceiling by printing more money. At the time, the price was creating a bearish price action, looking that the price could drop lower. And everyone was expecting that the US would default and the prices are going to drop way lower. Learning from my previous mistake, they printed $2 trillion, as I believe, and prices were looking that is going to go lower. Everyone was selling at the time. And that was the time when I said, I will buy the markets. Federal Reserve Bank have printed. Let me just put a stop loss to protect myself. And here's the upside. That is how much I'll make, and that is how much I'll lose. Everything is a calculated risk. They printed money, price started rising. So previous mistake, they printed money, I was selling. Now they printed money, I am buying. Fundamentals are really important at times of extreme news. And that is how you can kind of align your risk with your fundamentals and your technicals, hence a trading plan.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And I hope that everybody attending this evening gains much from what Mohammed has just shared, and just reflecting back on, I guess, your experience and your interaction with the markets during the crash. I just want to flag for people listening, Mohammed was talking about the fact that he was following hypothetical thinking. So when we talk about psychology, we're talking about our thoughts, and I guess how our thoughts influence behavior or actions and decision making ultimately. And with thinking patterns, there's healthy and unhealthy. And certainly with trading, we just want to follow rational thinking that is based on fact. And basically, what Mohammed was talking about, he was making his own presumptions. He was thinking hypothetically. I would go so far as to, and we've talked about it, say that he was in his own little fantasy. He was in a movie. He was in his own movie, and he was going to be the lead in The Big Short too. And that's okay.
Exactly.
People get carried away, again, blinded by money and potential wealth and gains and a desired lifestyle. It also sounds, so there's hypothetical thinking rather than rational, factual thinking. Then it sounds like you also had no boundaries. And so when I say no boundaries, we talked about ABC last week. So from the awareness perspective, it sounds like Mohammed had completely become unaware of what was guiding his thinking. He'd lost touch with rational thinking based on technical analysis, and he was in a hypothetical fantasy that he was going to gain great wealth, which was wishful thinking guiding his trading. Then there was no boundary, so much so that external agents, one of them being his wife, saying, hey, do you think you need to stop? And then some professional stepping in and actually having to put a stop for him because he was so carried away and not acknowledging the losses you were experiencing.
Yes.
And so it sounds like, I just wanted to point that out, like a lack of boundary and hypothetical thinking can result in experiences like Mohammed had. And I guess then what he talked about was the fact that learning, so he didn't enjoy what happened at the time, he lost money, but he used it as a learning opportunity. So hence we try not to use the word loss with every outcome that isn't desired. And even the desired outcome is an opportunity to learn, to reflect, to identify what happened, why, my small whys, why did I lose perspective? Why did I allow myself get caught up in this, potential, which is exactly what it was, potential. Why was I not engaging with my technical analysis,
Absolutely.
potentially believing I knew better?
Yep.
And then it sounds like this time round, I followed my plan. I stuck to my plan. I had risk management at the forefront.
Yep.
And I've had a much more successful outcome. I also learned what governments can do in times of crisis.
Absolutely.
And sat back. I remember when we talked about it, you said, you know what, Joy, I was able to be patient and wait to see what the government was doing. So again, rational brain very much at the forefront rather than emotional brain, which is going to start grappling with a scarcity mindset, thinking we have to act now.
Yeah.
So a beautiful example of how you have become so much more emotionally intelligent, emotionally aware.
Yeah.
You've brought in your boundaries. And how you communicate with yourself, our ABC from last week, have completely flourished and grown and evolved and are directly influencing your day-to-day trading.
I would say I would absolutely agree with that. And at the time when I was extremely down and had my sessions with you, that was the biggest help that I needed.
Yeah.
That I needed to speak to someone. I opened up to you about what I was going through, about my process that I follow, and I was doing it in a wrong way. So you shed a lot of light on how can I approach the markets? How can I create a process? How can I create a trading plan and what I should do? And ever since I started following that, it takes 3 weeks to develop a good habit. So when you basically start doing what you're told from your psychologist, from a trained professional, and you were the biggest help to my trading career. When you get that sort of help and you start applying what you're receiving, it literally does miracles to your plan, to your trade. It doesn't mean that I'm never going to lose a trade.
Sure.
I still lose trades till now.
Yeah.
But I don't think of them as losses. I think I followed my strategy. I can justify every trade that I've taken. And it doesn't matter if I take a loss, because I take a loss today, I may take another loss tomorrow and another loss the day after. But then the fourth day, one win covers everything back.
Yeah, beautiful.
there's no need to rush. What I see a lot of traders doing is that they tend to rush into trades. They have to be executed on trades in the markets at all times.
Yeah.
And that is something that I used to do as a beginner when I first started. I'm in a trade in the Asian market, in the European market, in the New York session. In every session, I have a trade opened. I never accept that I should not be engaged in the market, and that comes from greed, because you want to make money throughout the whole time.
Yeah.
But that is not going to work throughout the whole time. I would much rather take one good quality setup, one good quality trade for the whole day, following my trading plan, rather than take 30 or 40 trades, 2 of them following your trading plan, and 38 of them are just based on emotions.
Yeah.
The ones that are based on emotions are going to be random results, which will be reflected in your trading journal, seeing that you've made losses that you didn't want. And the ones that you followed your trading plan are going to be justifiable. You're going to be like, okay, this is a quality trade. It did not go according to my own expectations, but at least you've done something according to your own plan. The more you do things according to your plan, the less susceptible you are to mistakes or exposure to failure. That is the importance of a trading plan. And that is the importance of having psychology sessions that can get you to overcome these sort of emotions, these sort of psychology issues that every trader faces in the world. So if you feel these sort of things that I'm talking about and Dr. Joy is talking about, don't feel ashamed, don't feel embarrassed. These are common things that every trader around the world feel. The difference is that some people work on it to improve and some people actually stay where they are. So what I wanted to do for now, there are a few questions from our attendees. I'd like to respond to some of them. And we'll get back to this session. We have anonymous attendee. At what point do you feel that your technical knowledge is enough to have the confidence to run trades? So when it comes to technical knowledge, it is not sufficient enough to just base your trading off of it. You need to have other elements such as fundamentals and having proper risk management and your psychology in line. If you feel emotional about the trade that you're executing before you execute the trade, I would highly recommend that you do not enter the trade. If you're emotional, it means that you're over risking, you're gambling, or you're being too greedy. So it's best to stay out of the trade. And I would say when your technicals are very knowledgeable and you develop that confidence, it comes with putting stop losses. Because if you put a stop loss before you enter any trade, you're going to feel confident about each trade that you're entering. You're not going to be engaging in revenge trading. You have a trade running, it either goes to your stop loss, which is a price that you've accepted before you enter the trade. You know that this is the maximum I'll lose. And then you have your take profit, which is the upside potential of if the trade and your technical go in your direction, that's how much I'll make. And if you follow that process over a lengthy period of time, you will get to where you want. Liu Bin Lik, got any good way or tools to practice our mindset? This one is for Dr. Joy.
Yeah, sure. So in terms of, I guess, cultivating a mindful approach to trading, I think that there's multiple things that you can do. And I guess one of them is being consistent. Being consistent in when you turn up, how you turn up to trading, and then setting goals, clear goals for yourself. And part of those goals being mindful about developing a plan, because I believe that a plan is the one way that you can gain confidence, coupled with an effective risk management strategy. And I think over time, if you consistently use a plan, you're consistently learning, you're trying to build on your technical analysis skills, and you manage your risk. You give yourself a safe space, and that's been mindful. So I often talk to people about ensuring whatever you do, that you give yourself as much sense of safety and security as possible. Otherwise, you're constantly working out of a place of fear. So your plan, a good risk strategy, and enhancing your technical knowledge, coupled with, I do believe, a community, having people who you believe are trustworthy in terms of, being there for you in a mindful way, not in a in a dramatic way, but people, a community within which you can talk to, or a coach that you can talk to, you know, review your trades, reflect on your whys, why you did something. I'm talking to people, many people who develop plans and are very happy with their plan, and at various stages of their plan don't stick to it.
Yes.
And I guess the mindfulness part in the work for them is to figure out, why are you entering too quickly before your plan? Why are you leaving later? Why are you leaving earlier? Why? So becoming mindful is about asking yourself constantly, why am I doing things? If I'm trying to be effective and I'm developing a plan, and then other people, you know, have a risk management strategy that they decide not to stick to. And so then we're back to asking yourself, why am I not sticking to it? And this is where we're starting to look at the psychology of trading, my whys, in terms of what is guiding my judgment and decision making.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree with you. And also in the previous session, you've mentioned that people can download the app about meditation.
Correct, yeah.
Which helps with their
Meditation
mindset.
Oasis.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Meditation Oasis, guys, there's a subscription, maybe just £1, but it helps tremendously. Dr. Joy mentioned that in the previous session. So I highly recommend that for your mindset. Moving on to another question, and then we'll follow up with the rest of the questions at the end of the session. We've got Benjamin. Benjamin, I started trading in 2019. I was not knowledgeable, was misled by a friend. To date, I'm in trading losses of 100,000 over time. How can I overcome the fear of trading that I have now developed? This is such a good question, Benjamin. First of all, I'm sorry about the loss that you've encountered. I think that by time, following a proper strategy, having a trading plan, you will be able to get that back. The markets are always going to be there. As you know, markets don't have emotions. We do. And if you lose your funds to the markets, you're basically going to be emotional about it, and you could feel devastated. What I would recommend is developing a trading plan, backtesting your strategy, see how likely the strategy is going to work out with your personality, with who you are, and with the current market structure. Also, sign up for psychology sessions with Dr. Joy. I can't recommend her enough. She's literally changed my life in trading, and I owe her that. I've literally become more aware of my risk, more aware of me as a person, more aware in my personal life, more aware about everything that I do. So I want to truly thank you for that. And you know, if you've developed fear, fear comes from losses. We're all fearful of losing our money. Money is the most precious thing in our lives. You know, money, family, they are the most important things in our life that we have. So when you lose one part of it, which is money, you're going to feel fearful about engaging in the markets again. By time, you will overcome that fear by developing a trading strategy that is a winning strategy. You're going to find yourself gaining more confidence. That confidence will lead to more wins down the line. These wins will lead to covering up all these losses that you've encountered. And with We Fund You Trade, we're following a different technique where we offer coaching sessions and psychology sessions. So I really hope that would help. That will be a huge help to you.
Yeah, just following on from what you're saying there, Mo, because I see somebody else has just, Mohammed has just queried the ABC. And I guess where Mo here is talking about developing a strategy and how do I overcome fear? Well, the fact that you're aware you're fearful is wonderful. So you're aware that I'm fearful. And so sometimes when we develop a fear, we almost need to step back and maybe start at the beginning again and just work ourselves back up. But something that was said there in that comment is that I listened to a friend. And so we're back into this notion of communication. Where am
Absolutely.
I sourcing my information? Who's informing my trading? And we want the informants of our trading to be reliable. So when we're doing our technical analysis, we're not phoning a friend. We're not on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Let's phone a friend and take a risk that they might know the answer or they might not. We want to do a little bit more technical analysis and ensure that our sources are reliable and not friends. So I would say, again, this notion of essential versus luxury items. So we talk about the essentials in life. Air is essential to breathe, to live. Water is essential for homeostasis in our body. Nutrition, food, we need that for, again, healthy functioning internal systems. Essentials. A trading plan is an essential. Luxury items are talking to friends and not necessarily something that's going to add value to our lives, but
It's optional.
it's totally optional. So it's the kind of thing, a trading plan, you've heard it here, a risk management strategy is they are essential items if you want to reduce your fear and increase your confidence. So when we're talking about fear and we're talking about the ABCs, maybe we've kind of brought two of them in there. Awareness of what's informing your trading, awareness of how you're feeling when you're approaching it, and then bringing in boundaries in terms of, I'm going to have a plan, I'm going to stick to the plan, and I'm going to be careful about who and what is informing my trading strategy and my trading decisions. Beautiful.
And it also goes back to what we were discussing earlier about me looking at social media.
Correct.
And developing that belief system from all these people that I follow.
Yeah.
So at the end, you're going to have that one person to blame. You're now blaming your friend. You were misled by your friend. If you are doing all the work for yourself, you've developed your own trading plan, there's no one else to blame but yourself. And that leads to growth, that leads to learning, that leads to overcoming these difficulties. If you have only a friend that have given you all these ideas and you've executed based on his ideas, he's the one to blame. You didn't really know your capabilities in the market, and now you're feeling fearful of it because of what your friend told you. So I would, for me personally, after that big loss that I've encountered, and I've had multiple losses afterwards, it's not just, but the COVID-19 crash really sticks in my head because I had multiple sources to blame. I blamed the mainstream media, I blamed the social media guys that I was following, and I did not blame myself. But now, if I make a mistake, I know that this is me following the process, and losing is part of the process. Some people can't accept losses for the day, and then they just keep over trading. When you lose, you're psychologically now in a state of, I just lost. What should I do? A lot of people, their first instinct is, I want to make that money back. And after a loss, your decision making is not going to be as clear as when you start the following day. So it's going to lead you to more negative experiences and more losses. So I highly recommend that you don't listen to anyone. Develop your own trading plan and follow it. Just follow it. At the end, you see how likely this strategy is going to work out for you, if you have to do some tweaks on it to improve it, and so on and so forth. So these are the questions that we'll be taking for now. We will answer more questions down the line. I want to see if Dr. Joy have any other things that she wants to discuss with you guys.
Yeah, so what I thought would be helpful this week, coming towards the end of this wonderful, enlightening and informative, inspiring, educational session this evening, Mo, that we might conclude with a few tidbits or, just helpful hints in terms of how to overcome greed. And I guess it requires a mindful approach, which is, I am forever questioning why I'm doing something. What's the purpose of what I'm doing? What's the goal of this? So if I'm doing technical analysis, the goal is to inform myself about the markets and what's happening in the world, which will ultimately, guide my decision making, or it's one facet that will guide my decision making. If I'm emotionally checking in, I'm trying to see, where am I emotionally? Is there a sense of urgency, fear that could, again, influence my decision making? But in terms of greed in particular, I guess I've kind of done out maybe a little bit of a 10-point plan just to give people an idea of things to think about. And the first one is, you mentioned it yourself, setting clear goals. But these are kind of big picture goals. So you want big picture goals, and you also want your day-to-day trading plan. And so when people talk about greed, I need to make as much money as possible. Usually it's a really good and helpful, when you're on your own, challenge that thought, because I'll challenge somebody and I'll say, well, what does as much money as possible even mean? And why do you feel that you need to make as much money as possible? What do you believe it's going to bring to you? And then you kind of start exploring, well, can you even bring some of that into your life right now?
Yes.
because it's always based on futuristic possibilities. So setting clear goals, i.e. defining your trading goals, both short-term and long-term, and having a clear sense of purpose will help you to focus on your objectives rather than chasing these excessive profits. Then your day-to-day, create a trading plan, as you've pointed out many times, develop a well-defined trading strategy that includes entry, exit points, risk management rules, maximum exposure per trade. Following a trade reduces the likelihood of impulsive decisions based on greed. That's just been one emotion. Then, as Mo has also pointed out, this sense, we keep using this word discipline. And what we mean by discipline is like a work ethic or a trading ethic. So if I have a work ethic, it's basically referring to who I turn up as, how I perform. And so practicing discipline, stick to your trading plan, the word consistently every single time. It's not ad hoc, because ad hocly sticking to my trading plan results in ad hoc outcome and very difficult to wonder, am I actually achieving my goals, or to gauge if I am. So stick to your trading plan consistently every time you trade, even if you're tempted to deviate due to potential, and that's the key word, potential profits. Discipline helps curb impulsive actions driven by greed. So I'm sure, Mo, you've had experience where, and I've spoken to many people, by the way, traders, who will say, I have this urge, or I only stick to my trading plan 20% of the time. And so then part of their homework is to, okay, well, challenge yourself every time you want to break your own rules, break your trading plan, challenge yourself. And maybe they'll say, okay, I stuck to it 30% of the time this time, but they still have the impulses. Just because you should do something or it's more helpful doesn't mean it's easy. Would you say that's your experience?
I would say yes, this is my experience, absolutely. When it comes to speaking, it's all about discipline. Most of you guys are disciplined to go to work. Every day you wake up early in the morning, you get ready, you brush your teeth, and you go to work from 9 to 5. Why are you disciplined at your job, which pays you at the end of the month an X amount of dollars or pounds, and then you can't be disciplined with approaching your trading plan?
Yeah.
Because it's exactly the same thing. It's just with trading, you can make a lot of money quickly, and you can also lose a lot of money quickly. So if you have a trading plan, if you have an approach that you follow completely, then that eliminates the amount of mistakes that you can do throughout the day. For me personally, I was not disciplined. I did not follow most of my trading strategies. And Dr. Joy told me about in the past that if I can't follow my trading plan, what you need to do is basically, let's say, follow it for 20 trades in a row. Challenge yourself to do it for 20 trades in a row. If you break it in one trade you did not follow your plan fully, you have to reset that thing all over again, and then follow it again for another trading days in a row. That helps you develop discipline and develop a good habit when it comes to trading. If you don't have discipline and good habits with trading, you're always going to have these random results. If you want to change that, that change comes within you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think implementing risk management, where you determine the maximum percentage of trading capital you're willing to risk on a single trade, prevents over leveraging and minimizing the impact of potential losses.
Absolutely.
And then regular self-assessment, I think, is key. If you find that you have bad habits or unhelpful thinking patterns, like some of the ones that we've identified tonight, where I'm hypothetically thinking, I think I know more than the markets, I'm fantasy thinking, I literally am in a movie, which is PS, not unusual in the sense you acknowledged it and identified it in trading. Many people are in their own movie in their own lives and don't necessarily recognize it. But regular self-assessment, so scheduling regular review sessions with a coach, a trading psychologist, to basically reflect on and review your performance, because you would be so amazed at what you learn about yourself when you reflect yourself, but even more so when you bounce it off somebody. Because, and again, like I say, always very careful who we communicate with. So we want you to use a coach or a trading psychologist so that you're maximizing the benefits of having constructive self assessment or self evaluations. And then people did ask about mindfulness. So in terms of becoming aware that, gosh, I do have this urge to make as much money as possible. I'll finish on this one. There's many more, but this sense of mindfulness. So if you're finding that you have that urgency, or you're just recognizing unhelpful thinking, sometimes just doing some deep breathing techniques. Because I always say to people, you just need to slow everything down. Your mind is starting to run away on you. It's a little bit like having a worrisome thought about anything. And when we start slowing down and some deep breathing techniques, we slow our mind down. But what we also do is we trigger the nervous system, which helps calm the body, the parasympathetic nervous system. And so that tends to tell our mind, hey, everything's okay. And the fear settles and this urgency to make the money settles. And another app that I'm going to recommend. So I guess Meditation Oasis, I find really good for the simply being and the, getting yourself into that sense of being able to let go of these unhelpful thoughts. And that's what simply being, essentially the message she repeatedly says. There's another lovely app I recommend people called Oak, OAK. It's in the App Store. It's free. And again, when you open that, there's meditation at the top. That's more for advanced meditation, people who are able to do unguided. But the second row just talks about breathing. And you just press the breathing and press the first one. And it's literally a breathing. It helps you learn how to deep breathe if you're wondering how to. There's a visual, so you watch it. She talks you through it. And then you feel the sensation in your body. It literally lasts for 150 seconds. And if you haven't got 150 seconds to give yourself to try and learn deep breathing techniques, well, there's something wrong. Or ask yourself, a lot of people will say to me, I don't have time to do that, Joy. And I'm like, no, that's just your resistance, not wanting you to gain comfort in life.
I absolutely agree with you. I also would recommend that, if your plan is, if you don't see your trading plan playing out throughout the day, there's no need to force a trade. That's something that I've learned. Every day I wanted to open a trade, but now I come to an acknowledgement that if my trading strategy is not clear to me, there's no need to trade the markets. It's better to call it a day and conserve your money and trade the following day. And that comes with discipline, holding yourself back. If you can't develop discipline in trading, then you can't be a successful trader, because you're always going to have random results. Discipline is a core value in everyone's life. Or the people who are the most disciplined are the billionaires of the world now. Why are they disciplined? You find that there's mutual things that they do every single day. They wake up early in the morning. They go out and exercise early. They finish exercising, they have healthy foods, they have their meetings with their clients, with different partnerships, and so on and so forth. They eat good foods, they, end the day with reading, they don't waste time. All of their schedule is planned out. And when it comes to trading, you have to have your trading plan also planned out. You have to have specific rules that you're following in order to minimize the losses. And as Dr. Joyce said, always set a stop loss to kind of protect your capital. You understand exactly how much you're losing before you open the trade, and that minimizes the psychological effect on you. We are going to take more questions from our attendees.
Lovely.
Abdel Fattah Hassan, Mohammed, can I have a swap-free account? As you know, in Islam, swap-free account is not halal account. Thanks. That is a very good question, Abdel Fattah. So you can get in touch with our team to see if we offer swap-free accounts. Alternatively, if you want to make your trading halal with our existing accounts, make sure that you close your trades before the rollover period, which is 10 p.m. UK timing. If you close your trade at 9:58, where you don't pay the overnight fee, that makes your trading halal. And I hope that helps. But also get in touch with our team to check if you can buy a swap-free account. Guys, if you're interested in getting a funded trading account from us, make sure that you type in "We Fund You Trade" in the chat, or WFYT in the chat, in order to get 50% discount. We're running a webinar 50 coupon code in order for you guys to get 50% off on our services to help you guys achieve your goals from our psychology sessions, trading session, coaching sessions, and trading our accounts on our exclusive platform. Going on, how do you develop a trading plan? Developing a trading plan is basically starting with strategy. You need to have a technical analysis strategy, a specific pattern, a specific setup that you follow. Every time you see that setup, you basically execute your trade. And then you have your stop losses, your take profits in line. That way you can understand how likely this setup is going to play out for you. Additionally to that, you need to add fundamental analysis, which comes from understanding the news, the data that gets released on a daily basis. So for example, inflation data, interest rates, that gets released once every month. You've got non-farm payrolls, understanding unemployment rates, all these things that have a directional overview for the market. So always make sure that you develop your fundamentals, and then you've got risk management aspect, setting stop losses and take profits to protect your capital and to ensure securing profits along the way.
Just following on from that, Mo, actually, in terms of, again, just bringing in that sense of mindfulness. So how do you develop a plan? Developing it is step one, using all of the information that Mo has just said. And then I guess it's key to focus on process, not outcome. So shifting your focus from obsessing on over profits to executing your trading plan flawlessly. Concentrate on making informed decisions rather than fixating on potential gains.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree with you. So we also have, how do you now judge when you are emotionally flat and ready for trading? That is a good question for Dr. Joy. How do you know?
I'm not sure. I'm curious because I saw that question actually, and I was wondering, did the person mean emotionally fit for trading?
Yeah.
Or are emotionally flat? Because if somebody's emotionally flat, I wouldn't be suggesting trading at all.
Yes.
How do you know you're emotionally fit? I mean, like, I think if you're emotionally aware, and we're back to the ABC, yes, i.e. aware of how you feel about trading, considering why do I want to trade? What are my goals? And then I guess, you know, identifying, you know, what skills do I have? Have I knowledge gaps? You know, what do I have in terms of skill set to trade? I would always suggest have a meeting with a coach or a trading psychologist to just talk through how ready you are. It's like starting any new job. How ready do I feel I am? What is it? Have a reflection, think, what do I think I need for this role? If I feel I have it, great. And if I don't, how can I bridge those gaps? And so sometimes doing some of the trading courses, you've undertaken some trading courses, Mo.
Yes, I've done a lot of trading courses in the past. I believe Greg Secker's course, basically with Learn to Trade, helped me tremendously improve my trading skills and learn about technicals, fundamentals, and the psychology aspect of it. Having Dr. Joy on my side, helping me psychologically and emotionally, controlling my mindset, controlling how I feel about the markets, also helped me tremendously. So all of these combined have led to my success. With me, then it falls back down on the person to execute on the things that they're learning and to actually follow their plan. If you're not following your plan, you're not going to get where you want. And how do you know or judge when you're emotionally flat and ready for trading? What I would say to that, so for example, if I wake up one day and I look at the markets, I look at the fundamentals, and I think of my trading plan, or I feel the urge of executing a massive risk. If I feel that urge, then I know that for the day, I'm not going to trade. Just because if I'm thinking over risk or high risk, that means that there is something wrong, and that my mind is communicating with me that I need to over risk on a specific trade. Hence, it just breaks my trading plan. So in order to have my trading plan, I don't risk more than I want on a daily basis. And I don't set for myself targets, which answers Kauma Mayeba question. As a day trader, is setting daily targets good for you psychologically? I would not set for myself daily targets because market structure changes from day to day. Sometimes, for example, sterling against the dollar is going to give you 50 pips. Another day is going to give you 100 pips. And another day is going to give you 150 pips. And some days it's not going to give you any movement at all. So setting a target can be crucial to actually engaging, can be crucial to your success in engaging, you know, in over trading, over leveraging, over risking, and leads to mistakes. So Don't set for yourself daily goals. Daily goals are good and outside of trading. I want to accomplish this meeting, this research, speak to these clients, do 1, 2, 3 in order to finish my day. This is really good. But set daily goals as a monetary value, that is really bad. Maybe set a daily goal that I want to follow all of my trading plan from A to Z fully without breaking any of it. And if I break one of it, then I have to redo my trading all over again.
I think we're nearly out of time, Mo. I think we're 6 o'clock.
We are close to the end, guys. Please tune in for next week. Next Wednesday, we're hosting another session about a different topic that affects a lot of traders psychologically. I want to thank every single one of you that attended this session today. I hope that this is going to help you overcome greed and work on your trading plan to become a better trader. I want to thank Dr. Joy tremendously for all of her efforts, helping us and helping me personally with every time I face any issues. Please, if you enjoyed this session, make sure that you type in WFYT in the chat so we can send you a link to acquire your trading challenge. We want to have as many profitable traders with us on board that can trade with our capital, generate large bulk of funds for themselves, and we keep 20% of the profits. So are you ready for that challenge? Type in WFYT in the chat. And if you need any help, reach out to our moderators. They are always here working around the clock to help you out with all of your needs. Once again, Dr. Joy, you're always a blessing. It's always awesome to speak with you and learn from you on a daily basis.
Thank you. And I guess just wrapping up today, I just want to reassure everybody that overcoming things like fear of missing out, greed, and actually evolving into the trader that you want to become is a continuous journey. It requires consistent effort and consistent development of self-awareness. But by implementing a mindful plan that we've discussed, and I know we haven't gotten around to answering everybody's question, so I think we'll maybe refer back to a trading plan again next week. I've seen a few people, even though we have talked about it this evening multiple times, it's quite evident that there is a need to talk about this process of the development of a plan more. But if you, by implementing a mindful plan, you can develop healthier trading habits and make more rational decisions. So I hope you've gained a lot from what Mo has generously shared, with all of us about his trading journey, and recognizing, as I said, it is a journey, and he has learned so much from his own commitment to wanting to be the trader that he is today, his open-mindedness to the learning process, and also his open-mindedness to the psychology of trading, and everything combined is ensuring that you're maximizing the outcomes for yourself.
It feels so good, guys, when you follow your plan and you see that you followed your plan fully, and then you see the results out of it. It's such a satisfying feeling, adds on your confidence. And then if you do it more and more, then you always stick to your trading plan. You'll never do anything outside of it. So I hope every single one of you will get to that level. Once again, let me see these WFYT in the chat so you can get 50% discount. And if you enjoy this session, I would love if you guys post some reviews on Trustpilot. We want your feedback on things that you want to improve, topics that you want covered. So speak to our team, inform them of what you want to learn next. And we're always here providing value to you guys for free. Thank you again. Let's see We Fund You Trade in the chat. You get coupon code webinar50 to get 50% off on our challenges. And I wish every single one a very lovely evening ahead.
And a happy, healthy trading week until next week.
Absolutely.
Okay, lovely. Thanks, Mo. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you, guys. Goodbye.
Bye. 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 Bye.